I went to my first TwitchCon and I had the opportunity to meet my all-time favorite creators, and it was an incredible experience, an actual dream come true. I had always imagined how would it be to live something like this, and it finally happened, so I really wanted to talk about it and share my experience with all of you. But let's go in order.
I've been looking for flights online and there's literally not flights anymore. But I found one that it's really cheap and it's probably my last chance to get a flight that cheap for TwitchCon. I don't know if I'm about to just buy it and hope for the best. Okay, I have officially booked my flight for going to TwitchCon Paris. It's kind of crazy because I don't even have the tickets for TwitchCon.
It all comes from last year when George and Carl were confirmed to be attending to TwitchCon Amsterdam, and I really wanted to go, but it was already too late to organize and make everything work, so very sadly I had to let the idea go. But it was pre-Dream's face reveal, and at the time he was talking a lot about how much he wanted to travel, and he was super excited, so I promised myself that the first time that Dream had come to Europe, I will have been there. And it's kind of difficult to travel from the Canary Islands where I live, especially during the summer if you haven't planned your trip in advance. So one night I was just randomly checking plane tickets and I found a very cheap offer. So after considering for a reasonable time of 5 minutes, I decided to book them. I'm a very impulsive person. I didn't even have the TwitchCon tickets yet, I had nothing sorted out, and at the time we didn't even know who was going to attend to TwitchCon. But at the same time I thought that it was probably my only chance to have a ticket for that price if I ever wanted to go. So I said, you know what, I'll just buy it. Whatever, we'll see. And my desire to save money led me to wake up at 5 AM the 7th of July to go to the farthest airport from where I live and take my first plane of the day.
I'm super excited and nervous and oh my god, it's gonna be crazy. I haven't slept like at all because I finished packing yesterday at like midnight or something.
The plane brought me to Sevilla, and from that I took a second plane to Paris, Beauvais, which is far from Paris. Very far. I had to hop on a bus, and after 1 hour ride I was finally arriving to Paris. I reached my Airbnb at 5:30. I had basically traveled for more than 10 hours and it was exhausted. But at the Airbnb I met up with my online friend for the very first time and it was so lovely. We were going to share an Airbnb for the days that we were going to stay in Paris, and the apartment was so nice. It had a really nice view to the Eiffel Tower and it was very near to the convention center, which was obviously very convenient. After I dropped my stuff, we headed to the convention center to secure our badges, where we met with another friend. And it also happened that when we were there we met Hannah Rose. She had just arrived and she was walking around by herself, so we had the chance to talk for a bit with her and take some pictures together, and she also asked me to take some pictures of her in front of the TwitchCon screens that were on the first floor, which I did, and it was a very fun and lovely interaction. Then my friends and I just hung out in the convention center for a bit until we ran into George and Sapnap, who were right at the end talking and taking pictures with fans. And that was the very first time that I was seeing them in person after years of watching them. And they were also one of the main reasons why I was in Paris in the first place. So my friends and I were just standing there very close to them while everybody was talking and taking pictures with them. And we were just very patiently and politely waiting for our turn to speak with them. But if I've learned something from this kind of situations is that you need to be more decisive, because when it was our turn to say hi, they had to leave. And it was kind of disappointing, I'm gonna be honest, not with them, but because of the way that I felt that I handled the situation. I was just like standing there without doing nothing, as if they were the ones who had to come and talk to me. But besides the comprehensible sadness that we felt at that moment, we also knew that we had another chance to meet them because we were going to participate at their meet and greet the next day, so it was fine. Saturday arrived and it was finally the first day of TwitchCon, and it hadn't started in the best possible way. As soon as my friend opened her eyes that morning, the first thing that I told her was, I have bad news. In fact, Carl Jacobs had tweeted that he couldn't make it to TwitchCon because his flight was cancelled due to the bad weather. So yeah, we were kind of sad and disappointed, and TwitchCon hadn't even started yet, but we tried to cheer ourselves up and we got ready and headed to the convention center. First thing in the morning, there was the Twitch Rival Fall Guys panel in which Dream was participating. And I've mentioned it multiple times on my channel, but for those who don't know, Dream is my absolute favorite creator, and since his attendance at TwitchCon Paris was confirmed, I was the happiest person on the planet, and all I wanted was to see him, even if just from afar with his mask on. And yeah, that in fact happened. He was teaming with Hannah and Sylvie, and to be fair, their team didn't do that well, but it didn't really matter to me because it was just very fun and exciting just being part of the event. I had watched numerous Twitch Rivals events on Twitch in my bedroom, but being in the actual studio felt so different. The people were so hyped, everyone was cheering, we could see everything that was happening in the studio and not just what the screens were showing. The cameras and camera people were also always in the way, and that was kind of annoying, but what can they do? I guess it was fair. When Dream's team was eliminated, they left the arena, and with them, almost all the people who were there to watch them left as well, because we had other stuff planned for the day. And then something crazy happened. I met Dream. I actually met Dream. But let me explain. When we left the arena, we stayed on the floor for a bit, just talking and chilling with my friends. And then two of my friends and I decided to go to the toilet. And we had our sweet time in there. Next we had the meet and greet, so I was just checking my hair, taking my makeup, trying to decide if I was looking decent enough for the meet and greet pictures. And when we left, we took the escalators to go down to the first floor. And we were just there chilling and talking carefree to each other. When my friend went silent and she was like, "There's Dream there." And I'm like, "Dream? What?" And I look, and I see, in fact, Dream in the hallway of the floor that we were reaching with the escalator and that we had to cross to take the other escalator to go down. And he was there with a very few amount of people, like not more than 10, but even less than that. It was a matter of seconds, but in my mind, a million thoughts were running. And considering my previous experience from the day before with Jordan Sapnap, I just told myself, this is probably my only chance to meet him. I can't miss it. So when I reached the floor, I just went straight to him without paying attention to anything else that was going on around me. I didn't even notice that Hannah and Sylvie were on the same floor as well, and he was signing some people's badge. And I really wanted to ask him to sign my badge as well, but I didn't have a Sharpie with me, and I didn't want to ask the Sharpie to someone else and like losing time. So I was just quickly considering what to do in my head while I was waiting for my turn. And at the end, I just assumed that he wouldn't have signed my badge, but I could ask him for a selfie instead. And I did. I didn't have the chance to have like an actual conversation with him, but I did tell him that it was very nice to meet him, and we took some selfies together. I took 3, luckily, because the first 2 are just so shaky. I was probably trembling so bad, but I actually loved the last one. I think it's so cute because look at my face. I'm just so visibly happy to be there. I love it. Then I took some pictures to Dream and one of my friends, and when it was the time to my other friend to take the pictures with him, Dream's bodyguard, also known as Bunk, said that it was time to leave. And at that moment, my heart just dropped. I was feeling impossibly sad for my friend because it was happening to her the same thing with Jordan Sapnap as the day before. And I was like, no. This can't be happening again. I look at my friend and she gave me her phone and she asked me if at least I could take some pictures to her and Dream in the same frame. I was just there, pointing hands, trying to put them in frame, and Dream saw me. He come closer to the camera and posed for the picture, and the picture came out so cute. I love it. It's so nice. And in all of that, my friend didn't even notice that that happened. She noticed later on when she checked at her phone and the pictures, and she was like, oh my god, he posed for the picture. And of course she was like incredibly happy. It was really lovely. We had like a very short period of time, but the interaction was actually so lovely, and I feel so grateful and blessed because the people in there were the only ones that we had the chance to meet Dream at the convention center. And all of that was probably the most random and luckiest thing that has ever happened to me, because I'm usually very unlucky in those kind of situations. I still don't know how that happened to me, but it did, and I was the happiest person on the planet that day. But the emotional roller coaster of that day hadn't finished yet, because it was finally time of the meet and greet with George and Sapna. I couldn't even recover completely from meeting Dream that I was about to meet George and Sapna. It was really a crazy day, oh my god. And also, if you're enjoying this video, please consider subscribing to my channel and give me a like. Thank you. I feel I went to queue kind of early because the instructions said that you had to be there 30 minutes before the meet and greet started. And I was there way before, but there was already a lot of people queuing, and I ended up being on the back of the line, which wasn't very ideal, to be honest, because the TwitchCon staff let the first half of the people in there just take their sweet time. And then when they noticed that the time was running out and they had still a lot of people on the line, they made all of us rush at the end. So I didn't have much time to interact with them, but it was lovely anyway. George gives really good hugs. I made them sign my badge, and we took some pictures together. It wasn't the first meet and greet that I had participated in my life. The others were with other people from other fandoms, but I knew what to expect. And if I have to be completely honest, meet and greets, especially for people like them who have a lot of fans that are there to meet them, are not my favorite format, because it's true that you don't have the time to have an actual meaningful interaction, and maybe if I would have gone earlier it would have been different, but still I think that if you care about them, it's 100% a worthwhile experience. Especially with George and Sapna, they are really patient, nice to everyone, and it's really noticeable that they really care about the people there that want to see them. And even if you have a short amount of time, they try to make your experience as positive as possible, and yeah, at the end it was great. And with that, the first day of TwitchCon came to an end. And the second day, it was finally time for the Banter podcast panel, which again, now was just Sapnap and George, as far as we knew. We queued for a couple hours, and my friends and I got quite good spots, kinda near to the stage. This panel was probably my favorite one. They invited Austin, who entered with them and basically became the leader of the show, and then Hassan, Pokemon, and Tubo joined them as well. And it was actually super fun and enjoyable. I felt the time passed so quickly, and it was suddenly over, and I was genuinely sad because I didn't want it to end. But our day wasn't over yet. In fact, when we were still sitting inside of the theater waiting for the Banter panel to start, we received a notification saying that Dream will have replaced Carl in the next Twitch Rivals event, and that meant Dream Team content for us. So when the Banter panel ended, we had our way to the Glitch Theater and secured good spots that ended up being really close where the Dream Team was later located, and when we sat there we didn't know that they were going to be this close to us, which was really lucky. And Shadun teamed with the Dream Team, which was really cool as well, because the team turned out to be very good and fun. And I had the chance to watch them in real life from relatively close for more than 4 hours, which was a very long time, let me be honest, but very worth it.
Kitchen Chaos. The top 2 teams will race to complete 3 recipes, but...
The overall experience has been so fun, but now I think that I have to go back and watch their VODs from that day, because I'm sure it will be very interesting to see their perspective of the event.
Alright, this is for the 4th ingredient and some on these
And when Twitch Rivals ended, the time to say goodbye to TwitchCon had come. And it was honestly very sad because when we left the theater, the staff was already putting away all of the stands and everything. We didn't even have the chance to take like a final walk around the floors of the convention center because it was already time to leave. But on our way out, with everyone else leaving, we had the chance to say goodbye to our friends, and there were a lot of creators there as well that were streaming or just hanging out with their viewers, and it was a very nice environment. We met Hannah again and we asked her to sign our badges, and I even made an appearance on her live stream and I cringed so bad rewatching it a couple days ago. And I also met Finn and Shadun and we took pictures together, and it was really nice to have the chance to talk for a bit with them. After TwitchCon, I visited Paris for a little bit and then I went to the UK for the first time, and that was an incredible trip as well. I've been far from home for more than 10 days, and just recently when I got back, I had finally the time to process everything that had happened. And I'm so glad that I had this incredible experience. I was so nervous but also scared beforehand because I thought that I was about to do something that went completely out of my comfort zone. I traveled to another country by myself, I met with my online friends for the first time, I had to speak English non-stop for days, I met all the creators that introduced me to this world. But all of those things that I was worried about were also the ones that gave me the most joy. This fandom has made me experience so many cool things, and TwitchCon is probably the coolest one yet. And all of this just from watching some people playing Minecraft on the internet.